I'd say
You're
the
the
most
senior.
important piece of common ground is that we accept and are willing to talk about this as a real problem. And unfortunately, on the other side of the aisle, the deniers hold sway, and those who aren't outright denying have kind of gone down in a hole and won't talk about the problem. And that's not helpful. We solve problems in Washington by talking about them and by getting all the different points of view out on the table.
And I think the biggest thing is that Sheldon and I are friends. And I've always said you build friendships, you build relationships, you can communicate. And that's the bottom line. So we come from two different worlds if you look at Rhode Island and you look at West Virginia and what makes up our economies. But if you look at it from the standpoint that we agree and our commonalities is that basically I have said many, many times over that I believe that 7 billion people have had an impact on the climate. We have a responsibility. And that's where I think that Sheldon's been coming at from day one. On the other hand, I think that Sheldon will tell you he agrees that we have to continue to use fossil within our makeup of our energy mix and be able to provide this country the energy it needs at affordable prices, but we can do it better.
And do you feel like you're in a good position to kind of communicate with some of the more moderate Democrats and Republicans who question the sort of...
Well, there's not another state that's basically relies on fossil as much as West Virginia does for its economy and for its energy. So with that being said, when I do speak, I'm not going to be saying something that would harm my economy or the way of life in West Virginia or whatever. We've got to develop the technology that's affordable, efficient, that will work, and we haven't done that. We've been just sparring back and forth, and nothing is getting accomplished. $8 billion is sitting on the sidelines for what?
Actually, we've barely even been sparring back and forth. It's been a one-sided conversation because the only people who come out from the Republican side to have this conversation are the folks who think that climate change is a big old hoax. So,
and it seems like no matter what happens, it's going to have some sort of toll on a state like West Virginia to some extent, right? I mean,
and that's where I think states like mine have to pay attention. We agree there's a problem. We agree that there are technological solutions where we want our country to lead. We agree that fossil fuels are going to be a part of our energy mix for decades. We agree that trying to make sure that they're developed and used as clean as possible makes a lot of sense. We agree that outside this country, we have to exert American leadership to try to make sure that we're not drowned by carbon pollution from other countries. We can't go this alone. We've got to show international leadership. I mean, there's a lot of kind of baseline agreement here.
and do you think that those agreements could find their way into a piece of legislation, for example?
Oh, I sure do. I mean, we always have hope for that. I mean, but you have two people that Sheldon and I are coming from here and going here. If we can do it, and he can show the best interest of the people of Rhode Island and his concerns he has for his constituents and really the country, I can show mine from West Virginia, my constituents, and what it does for the country and how we can both come together. I mean, that's what we were sent here to do.
Mm-hmm. You famously shot the cap and trade bill in a campaign ad several years ago.
Hit it right in the middle, too. Best I saw.
Mean, is
pretty good shot.
Took a couple tries.
You know, is this a change from that position, or is it more?
No. We might differ on this as far as, and that's where our differences would be. I'm totally opposed to the cap and trade from this standpoint. That cap and trade that was proposed, and I've said this, if you're serious about fixing the climate problem and the things that cause the climate, whether it's the burning of fossil and so many other things that we do in our country, then why would you allow wind and solar and renewables to be trading carbon credits when they don't even produce 1 ounce of carbon? It was a money scheme. And I said, that's not fixing the problem. So we differ a little bit. We're still talking about, we differ on that.
So what are the next steps for the two of you? Are you going to be talking to Republicans, other Democrats?
Well, we're going to have a couple of visits so that...
little floor visits today, starting today.
We're going to the floor today, and then Joe's going to come up and see some of our coastal folks and fishermen in Rhode Island. I'm going to come down and
take a tour of West Virginia and see all the things we're doing.
Areas and see what they're doing, and we're going to just keep working and see how big we can build our agreement.
I know we can find solutions to this. I think the difference is we want to do something. That's the difference. And if you want to do something and you have a friend to work with, you can usually get things done.
It's worth the try, for sure.